One welcome, all good evening to all of you, wherever you are on the continent of Africa, on this great expanse continent full of life, art, music, and people of color. We're excited to be having you again tonight, and thank you for inviting us into the spaces of your own homes, whether you're on a phone, you're driving, sitting in your house, in your lounges, having some good time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate your support greatly, and here on Galaxy Universal Network, my name is Maponga J, the program is Sankofa, and we are excited tonight. We are sitting here with our beloved sister. Remember, it's Women's Month. It's this August month, and we must wait for the Americans to tell us when to celebrate our women. I've always argued that it must be Women's Month every day. Every day. Every day must be Women's Month. What do I mean by that? Every day, one woman must make sure that one man is happy. And of course, every day one man must make sure that every woman is happy. That's why we celebrate our wives, our sisters, and our mothers. And I would not find a better way of concluding this beautiful, beautiful Women's Month that we have had. And you can see from Sankofa, instead of talking about heavy cultural stuff about ukupahla, ukufuta, his traditional things and culture, I just thought maybe we'd lighten it up a little bit and have some conversation with real people, real stories, finding out how our ladies are doing it in the corporate world. And for me, sitting with me today is Nkeke, as she would rather be called, Nkeke Funani. Yes. And in her own right. It's your show, madam. It's your show. It's your chance to tell the world who you are, what you're doing, what you are, when you are, who you do, and who you don't do, and everything else between, Let's keep it nice and easy. Okay. And she's from the media space, yes. So I have very little to be coaching her, and actually it's my turn to be taking lessons from the professionals within the media space. Yeah, greet the people. Who is Nkeke Funani?
Greetings. Well, Nkeke Funani, if I start with my professional career, I am in the media space, as you said. Mm-hmm. I am a project executive at the SABC. I work
project executive?
Yes.
What project are you doing there?
Sales and marketing under the sports umbrella.
Okay.
So we bring in the money, we do all the creative stuff for SABC, selling products,
selling airtime and all that.
Yes. So, and then over and above what I do with that SABC sales marketing, I also have my own company called IMBA. Mm-hmm. It's a film, music, and radio movement. Yes.
Hold the issue of the films there, because I may get excited. I may get excited before the end of the show, and begin to throw in some few curveballs there, because I have a great interest in that.
You must be gentle with me.
Okay, let's go for it. You're still telling us you run a separate company.
So that's the separate company. That's my umbrella, my baby. I'm the CEO for IMBA Films, Records and Publishing. So what we stand for basically is we assist people, young people. Mm-hmm. I won't give the age group, but maybe up to age 35. We are a bit flexible there, but we give them the opportunity to come into the space, the media space. Mm-hmm. We know they don't have the finances to come in, so we record them, we get them on radio, we get them to sing, we look at content. Content is very important for us because we are a black empowerment focused movement. So we're focusing on that. We're focusing on getting them into the media space in terms of writing concepts, getting their concept onto TV, editing, packaging, the whole shebang. We help them with that. How it started was we ourselves, before we got into media, we saw the struggle. It was a big, big struggle. Getting into SABC itself was another mission. So we've seen how people are usually not mindful of those that are coming from spaces that are not around here. Yes, and the attitude that they get from there. So we're there with the cushioning.
Try to put a bridge.
Yes, with a bridge. We already have artists under IMBA, Uskalo, there's a few from KZN, Mahlaku, Obuhle. So they have music that's already circulating on the radio. We do the music videos also from our own pockets. Okay. So we do our performances, we perform ourselves. I'm an artist, I'm a musician.
You're putting too many things in one basket.
I know.
I want to take one. I want to take one. Then at least we can be able to dig as much as we can. Okay. But let us go for the professional, since you've started there.
So so there, and then if we're still focusing on myself, I'm also a host for a program called Building Africa with Love on Channel Africa.
Building Africa with Love.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's exciting.
So that goes out every Friday. also focusing on the continent, uplifting, changing mindsets, you know, reminding the African who they are. We're bringing those stories back to them because we feel that there's too many stories about who they are not.
And it's always, the story is always being told by the second person.
So we change, exactly.
We want to tell our own stories.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are bringing those stories to the people through the
media space.
Media space.
Wow. And by the way, I must say, your generation, without being too conservative, it could be the second generation of broadcasters and media personnel from the old regime. People who have like moved into the space. This used to be all white space, all white space. Even now, you still find maybe 20–30% of the real key figures that are tightening the screws, who tell you you can't do this. In media, you don't. What are some of the challenges that you have faced? I mean, you are coming from an African space, moving over into public media, what you might call mainstream media. And what sort of challenges are you facing there?
So now that you're talking about the people that are actually dominating in this space, those are the challenges we face, because you're coming with your African stories and many of them see them as anti-white. And we're not really.
And once they're anti-white, it means that they're anti-media.
Exactly.
And if they're anti-media, they are anti-90% of the audience.
Exactly. So that's problem number one. You have the stories, you're trying to push this certain narrative. We're rewriting the narrative, literally. And the problems that you face is through sponsorship. So someone listens to your content and they're like, oh, this is too heavy, or this doesn't
and
speak to my audience.
And they don't put money in stuff that is deemed to be against this establishment.
So that's problem number two, is that a program like that can't generate money, really. So it's a bit of a fight, and you try to go privately, even though the space that we're using is the broadcaster, and it's doing what it's doing there. But I think the vision is to actually get it to a bigger space, to reach bigger numbers as well, and to try and get funding.
I'm glad you are here. I'm glad you are here. There are lots of young people, lots of young companies who would want to break into the public media space. It is not an easy space. So I would like you maybe to be kind with us and tell us maybe just in general what are some of the stereotypes when it comes to public media. What are some of the, and I'm not saying so because I want to glorify them, but I want us to unmask them and say, when you are coming into this public space, you are bound to, I know the racial issue, for mentioned about it, but what are some of the typical stereotypes, or let me say typical stereotypes of the masculine, male, white media controllers who actually think they know what Africans need, who think they know what black people need. They think they know what we need to consume. And so what are some of the controlling stereotypes? I'm called boom gates into the media space. So
the typical stereotypes, I think this concept of putting everyone under the same umbrella. You look at the media, you look at the black space in terms of who is consuming Iwisa, for instance. You already have a certain person in your mind, and
into
Lokshini, and that's what they think they should
so the advertisement must be going towards the black programs.
It does, but it limits them because it puts every other black person under the same umbrella, so
even if you're in Senten,
I think it's very stereotypical in that sense, but in the space that I'm in, away from radio and the other stuff that I'm doing, because we generate income for sports, so it's not that difficult in the sense, because
sports is unisex.
It's unisex.
Sports is
unisex.
Multinational, multilateral.
Yes.
You don't have to.
And besides that, we have the numbers. So it's not, everyone kind of wants to be on that
You
stage.
force them. Literally, you force the establishment to.
The numbers forces them because they want the consumer. You've got the numbers. They want. It's an exchange, a free. Actually, not a free exchange, but it's a fair exchange. So there's no struggle in that sense. I think we sense the struggle on our side because of what we are doing, which is a bit different, and it's not the norm that people come and they come up with programs like this where they are looking at rewriting the narrative and trying to enlighten the African mind. So the stereotype comes there where people are afraid to come into that. They don't really understand. I think maybe it's because they also don't understand, but also because there are connotations attached to us black people coming and wanting to now empower and raise our people up and whatever, and that's not what the colonizer would really want.
Another small little, just to piggyback on that same idea,
yes.
where you find the black community, the black business people, do they really understand how much involvement? I'm saying so, fully understanding
yes.
that many, if not the mega sponsors of the mainstream TV,
yeah.
are the bigger brands who have been here for years. And I'm looking at the middle class and the lower class, the lower LSMs, who imaging contractors, for example, yes. small businesses and etc. Do you have incubation programs, maybe where 10, 15, 20 businesses can come together, buy a small little stake
they are.
and put their small little advert there?
Yes, they actually are, because remember, you tailor-make a package for a specific program. You know, this program carries so much LSM, these are the rates and so forth. And then you get your programs that play at 1 o'clock during the day, but they still get to give you the numbers. Yes. So it's about looking at what you have.
Then your prime time, guys.
You see, prime time will be more expensive than another time. So you look at what you have and you check, okay, will this work for you? You work with the client, you check if the numbers that you have will, as a startup, you know?
When you come back after the break, I want to take you through some indigenous African games, and I would throw a curve ball on her. I hope she will survive. Don't go away. We'll be back right after the break.
Feel the heat.
I love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know, I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Chicken portions are an easy way to feed a crowd.
I've just started to incorporate all my ingredients.
We're gonna put this inside of a hot cast iron skillet.
You want to really fill up on great protein.
It's now time to sample the chef's dish. Look at this.
I know.
Like that.
Feel the excitement.
The chicken is on the spot.
Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Do you dream of awesome cartoons filled with funny characters who go on extraordinary adventures?
Everybody ready? Ready!
Hold on, I'm coming!
This is absolute genius.
I'm on my way.
I'm ready. Titans, go!
Feel the excitement.
Like it? I love it!
Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Just watch this. Let the pictures tell you everything.
It's all the way through!
Oh, what about that? That was really special. Those are the moments that supporters will remember.
Feel the excitement. That was delightful. Feel the heat with StarSat.
Violence and sexual abuse against children has become a major social challenge during the COVID-19 lockdown. We appeal to adults, parents and caregivers to be kind towards children during this lockdown and beyond. Give children the space they need to engage with their reading and learning activities. Do not hit them. Do not yell at them. They are equally frustrated. We urge you to listen, support and help the children to survive the COVID-19 lockdown. Report immediately any incident of sexual abuse. The Department of Basic Education. Every child is a national asset.
The day will come when these measures are no longer needed. Until then, however, we must ensure that all our people receive adequate support. We look ahead to a better future. I have faith in the strength and the resilience of ordinary South Africans who have proven time and time again throughout our history that they can rise to any challenge that is presented to our country. We shall recover. We shall overcome.
Welcome back, and with me on the hot seat today is Nkeke Funani. And we are running through some few paces in the line of media, broadcasting, and she's particularly focusing in the space of entertainment and, to be more specific, sports. And we want to go back again and maybe just dig up, I threw up a question, which will be a leading question into your program of the African reform, African growing, empowering the African child and stuff like that. That you're working in the sports field and in the sports arena, in the sports fraternity. Do you feel that the sports that we are actually marketing are actually indigenous sports, or we've also fallen into the crack of stereotypes of sports?
Well, personally, I think perhaps if you look at soccer, we would say we are catering a bit for our people. But other sports like diketo, party and whatever, these are small things that I don't want to speak too much about the public broadcaster, but I know that there are programs that they do have
within the arts and culture and sports, and
even in the organization itself, where on SABC2 that carries the indigenous sports during the day, but I'm not sure about the time frame. So they do, but it's not as extensive as your soccer.
For example, you get to defend that this traditional boxing. The traditional boxing, which for me is much more live than the gloves and WBO sort of thing there. And I really want to find out how many kilometers do we have? How many years do we have when indigenous staff can one day also occupy space on the mainstream of, this is South African Broadcasting Corporation, representing the South African. So are we really honestly saying that our sports and our activities would duplicate or represent the authenticity of the place in which we are functioning in this case, the African terrain?
Well, as a mandate, I think they are working towards that space. But if people feel that it's not being catered for at the level that they wish to, then it doesn't stop anyone from coming up with something to cater for that. Because we have to start somewhere eventually, If you see there's a need for something and no one is doing anything about it, instead of just sitting down and waiting for someone, do something about it. You can put the idea together. Maybe you don't have the resources. Find someone that has the resources. Maybe they haven't been thinking about it. So you tackle it from that angle. There's nothing stopping us. There's nothing stopping us from growing that market, from bringing it to the people if it needs to be on television.
All right. And back with that, I also want you to take me through, because when you say you're developing Africa, I would want to know also what strategy are you putting in place? What sort of programs are you running? What's your target areas? What's your strategy like in terms of your program outline of some of the indigenous development programs that you could be involved in?
Well, in terms of the program that I'm running on radio currently, we have different speakers. I mean, it's about research. It's research-based. You look at who's doing what in the African space and how it's helping the African child. And I take that and I speak to them. I actually try and check what they do in the space that they're in, whether they're in America or they're in Kenya. They give us that story. Because we're also an international radio station, it caters.
You're one of the biggest in Africa.
Yeah, we are one of the biggest. So that's how we're bringing the stories. We obviously have our segments. We segment it. We have our topics that we choose for the day. And we run through it. The show goes out every Friday.
Imba, take us through Imba. Who is Imba and what happens there? I heard you already talking about films, and again, you'll be hearing me asking you the same question over and over again. Because if you are talking about full film, you're talking about creating content for the greater blockbusters or whatever, or documentaries or magazine programs, whatever nature they are. I would still be interested to know in that space again. When you talk about Africans, we must come in as thieves. We must come in as witches, and we must come. I mean, so most of the soap operas that we are facing now, they have to almost like show how evil the African person. We are Jola 99, for example, with all due respect,
and that's
where you stereotyping Africans to be poor, unreasonable, thuggery, drugs, nyaope, So what are you doing in that space in terms of creating the real story?
So what Building Africa with Love does, it takes the story that you have forgotten, the story that you haven't been told about yourself, about who you are as an African child. Because
take me through.
Essentially, why you have Jola 99 is because people are not aware of who they are. They might think this is something, because this has been the norm in the spaces that they're at. That's content for them, and it's bringing the viewers, it's bringing whatever. However, Building Africa with Love says, you had great ancestors. They built pyramids, they built Mapungubwe, all these great structures. We're bringing all those stories to them, and we're saying, this is who you are. And it's not in line with what you are doing currently. So come back to yourself and get back into who you are so that you are able to live a better, fulfilled life. So that the social ills that we're faced with will cease to exist. Because once you know yourself, there are certain things that can't resonate with you as a person. So these stories are there. I mean, we even refer you to books that you need to read that will make the connection.
The reading clubs and stuff like that.
Not the reading club as such, but we have the books, the content. Every show we tell you, okay, you can refer to such a book if you want to know about this and this and this and this. But even the guests that are there, they've got social media networks. We connect you with them because Nabo, they are carrying the continent in their little way where they are.
Let me throw you. You'll allow me to get into my philosophical space.
Yes.
Just for half a minute.
All right.
So gear yourself. This is going to be tricky.
I'm putting my head on.
We have programs and social media spaces like Facebook, for example.
Yes.
And we have in the past. Facebook is as old as 1300 or 13,000 years ago.
Okay.
In the line that our ancestors and the Bushmen used to write on the walls.
All right.
They used to write on the stones. If you get to Egypt, that's Facebook for me, where you would find
the hieroglyphics, the drawings.
It's there with pictures, with words, and etc. When you look at the modern, sophistry of the modernity with what it comes with, how do you compare the past historical information that we have had and in its storage form and the modern stuff? How do you compare the two Facebooks? Yes, that's the right question. Can you give me a philosophical comparison between the Facebook that is on the stone works of our cradle of mankind and the Facebooks that we are now holding in our hands?
Well, the Facebook from I know. Well, this is what I would say. The Facebook from our past was to engrave the secrets, of what they either have discovered or their way of life. Not to say that Facebook now is not showing us the way of life. It is, but sometimes it's not conducive to the people that are on there. I think sometimes it's also very unrealistic in terms of its expectation from those that are on the book itself. The stories are mostly unrealistic at times because you are fronting a certain narrative, or you want people to perceive you as something. Some people they've seen how to use it positively, and then there are those that unfortunately
it's a hiding place.
It's a hiding
place. Where you must powder your face. I must. Exactly. Like Instagram and Twitter. You need to have a certain look.
So how do we get away from that? How do we...
so that it becomes honest.
Yes. How do we get to a point where you are not afraid to actually reveal your authentic self with the hope that you can get assistance? Because now if you do that on Facebook, someone will come and they'll be negative and they'll lambast you and there can't be anything positive that comes out of it because it's so...
You've been on my social space. You have seen how they want to eat me alive every day.
I know. So there's that fear as well, you know. You're very vulnerable on social media unless you are with people that are really honest and that are really there to build you and that are looking after the same interests as you. But
and people are progressive and honest. You know?
Exactly. It needs to be a progressive space. If it can do wonders if people decide to use it as something positive and something progressive.
Again, I want you to compare again the concept of TV and storytelling, and media is all about storytelling.
Yes.
And our TV in the olden days, I come from the old school, where our TV screen was a fireplace.
Yes.
And grandmothers were the announcers and the broadcasters and the storytellers, and we would be roasting our millies in the fire there while we're picking up stories. Lots of information that we picked up from the ancient history, medicines, you know, who has been bitten by a snake today, what did we use to treat it, the cow is sick, what are we going to do with it, Mama so-and-so is pregnant, when is she coming home, what herbs, tomorrow morning please go to that tree, go and find this bushy so that we can help. So that fireplace was not just a fireplace, it became, but right now in many homes, the center of the couch.
Yep.
If you look at the way the couch is, the way it is designed, all the couches are looking into that wall, which has become the center of education. How do you want to convert? And again, I come to my past. How do you want to compare the two TVs? The one that I grew up in Masvingo, in Bikita, there, under the moon, watching the Milky Ways and stars falling, and now this TV that is here. How do you compare the two entertainment centers and the quality of information both centers were holding in stock for us?
You see, I think the beauty about the past and the fireplace was the fact that it was bringing people together, firstly, and the fact that you could, it allowed you to use your mind, you could visualize the stories, your imagination, and there was no limit to it. Your brother next to you could probably have a different picture, but it worked, you know. Now with TV, you are fed the same thing. Whatever you see there is what you are all seeing. It will probably be open for interpretation, but it's
already packaged.
It's there, it's packaged.
When someone says ngano, 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 what do you say in your tribe? When you're saying we are all sitting there, and each watch wasugela, everyone travels to their own wasugela, you know, but now it already comes packaged, limited, and etc.
So what do we do with that? Because you can either change people's perceptions positively with whatever's packaged already, or it can be negative. Because a lot of things, remember, a lot of our youngsters also look into TV and they see what we're feeding them in terms of media space, the lifestyles. They're very attached to lifestyle and what you give them, and that's what they think life is supposed to be like. So isn't it our responsibility now, therefore, to change that narrative, to package the correct stories? It's there. We can't get away from TV. And
while we're on that, I would like to say you're on the right platform. We're happy to have you here.
Okay.
We're happy to have you here.
All right.
When we come back on top of the program, we want to find out exactly how our community in the Greater African space can actually plug into what you're doing and maybe possibly find a network for you and assist you to get more stories. When we come back after the break, we will be talking to the greater film industry and find out more from our sister here, Nkeke Funani, and what she's doing with herself. And I was so excited. Just before starting the program, a handsome young man walked in here. So she's taken, guys, don't even try and send a message. Handsome man came in here. It's a family affair. And I like that. I like that, you know. After the break, we are here in studio with Nkeke Funani.
Hello. Being a legal practitioner in South Africa in these challenging times demands lawyers that will help clients beyond legal issues. The ever-changing demands in commerce and tourism require lawyers who have sound and clear business and commercial knowledge, and that's where MB Chabangu Incorporated comes in. Our business, mining, tourism, health, labor, and economic knowledge encapsulated with law and litigation experience gives us an advantage in the legal sphere. Our experience in assisting businesses, government, and various industries with their needs puts us amongst the many progressive and striving law firms in South Africa. Now, to contact our attorneys for assistance with any of the mentioned fields and others, please call us on 012-341-4187 or send us an email on admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, where problems meet solutions.
Feel the heat.
I love love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know what? I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Chicken portions are an easy way to feed a crowd.
I've just started to incorporate all my ingredients.
We're going to put this inside of a hot cast iron skillet.
You want to really fill up on great protein.
It's now time to sample the chef's dish. Look at this.
I know.
Like that?
Feel the excitement.
The chicken is on the spot.
Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Do you dream of awesome cartoons filled with funny characters who go on extraordinary adventures?
Everybody ready? Ready!
Hold on, I'm coming.
This is absolute genius.
I'm on my way.
I'm ready.
Titans, go! Feel the excitement.
Like it? I love it!
Feel the heat.
Well, this is one of those moments when you have a professional on the chair and you don't have to worry much about what to do, how to do, and what to say. And here we are with Nkeke Funani, a media personnel in her own right, and she's running a company called Imba. Yes. Imba. Yes. All yours. Take us through Imba. What is Imba? And in Shona, Imba means sing. You know, I'm a Shona. I'm Shona. I'm from Zimbabwe. So when you say Imba, Imba means a house.
Yes.
Imba also means sing.
And father of music.
You know, the Himba. Yeah. You know, and there's a tribe also actually in Namibia.
Okay.
The Himba tribe.
Oh, right.
And the Himba tribe is quite unique.
Okay.
The Himba tribe, the woman, the day she decides to get pregnant, she finds a name and a song for the child. Before the child is born.
Wow.
And the birth of the child is conceived when she thinks about it.
Oh, wow.
By the time she...
Really?
Yes, go and research. By the time she makes the baby, the baby has already lived with her prior to the baby coming into her.
Oh, wow.
When the baby comes out of her, she sings this song for her. Every time the baby's going through the problems in the funeral, etc. So actually every Himba child has a song that drives them. You want to talk about stories?
You know, that's exactly like I'm thinking, wow. All right.
There you go, take us through Imba. Okay. I was just dragging your arm to the...
Now I'm intrigued and I'm interested. I'm going to follow that story.
Yeah.
So what we do, let me start in the beginning because we are musicians as well. So we have musicians that are supposed to also rewrite the narrative of the content that we have outside.
Okay.
A lot of content is messing with our people's minds. You know, it's bringing out certain behaviors that are not supposed to be there. So the first thing that we do, we also have writers, but the first thing we do when we get you on board as a musician is look at what drives you as a musician, what your purpose is, and why you want to do what you do. Because we're not here to change what you want to do, but you need to be in line with what we want to do. So if we are on par with the message, then that's the first step. Yes, you're good to go.
So you have a music leg.
It's a music leg.
That is running. Are you looking for new artists? Are you looking for...
Always.
You want to connect with new...
because we're doing this ourselves, music does take time, so you like to concentrate on that. And so it's not like we're taking a whole swamp of people at the same time. But I would like to encourage people to get in touch with us, because as much as we do this a step at a time, we also keep in touch with those that have made contact. So when we're done with this project, you come in. We're working towards a concert. I'm not going to name the date, but it should be before the end of this year, if all works out. So those artists also get the platform.
You have it from me. I'll come and do one song for you.
I already have that song that I heard from you. And so we need people, we need musicians, we need content, musical content that speaks to the African, that will change people's minds and their lives, you know.
So that's one leg.
So that's the
one leg. That is music. The second leg?
The second leg is the film leg. So when I speak filming, it's your scripting, it's your conceptualizing, it's your concept creation, it's your pre-production. You know,
starts with writing. I mean, it just starts with writing. Because I think that's where the greater population could be right now.
Yes.
If there are young people out there who have stories that they want to write, they can also get in touch with you.
They can get in touch with us. They can submit their stories. We do that, and once you've submitted and we approve the writing, we then get into the
production,
film,
then you can go into your pens and whistles.
You know, then we modify, we do all those nice things, editing, everything. We've got all of those. The third leg is radio, which is what I also do. So we basically involved in all these legs because we ourselves have the gifts and the talents. So you get to see it practically. It's, you know, in action. So the radio part of it is the hosting, the presenting, and
so you're critiquing me now as I'm present. You are the professional today.
No, I wouldn't say that. So there's that leg, which concepts again. The concept of building up your love is from IMBA as well. It's done by, I work with my husband, yes, Prince Wandile Ndabozubo Funani Kamnqanqeni. So
no.
so
you tickle my blood, you know, when a woman knows the husband that word. So when things are bad, you don't go Andile.
No.
Babu Funani.
You know, yes.
That's beautiful.
So everything, we do everything together. You know, we've worked together for years. It's a model that has worked. And we understand the industry. We understand what is needed. I think that's a gift that we will forever cherish.
That's partnership.
So that's the partnership that's there. So that's.
So you sleep work, you talk work, you work.
Like you get woken up at 2 in the morning. Hey, there's this concept because he's a writer, and writers are forever busy. Like they constantly, their minds
I wish someone
working.
can send a message to people that I live with.
Yes.
You know, because my spirits arrive around 3 in the morning, 2:30, 3 in the morning.
That's the thing.
And boom, and then I must switch on lights and other things, and other people. It doesn't make sense at all. But yes, I hear you.
I understand. I get woken up on a song, Baba. You know, the song, the music, the album that we have, Versatile, is actually all the songs he has dreamt of. He gets told by Bagubo, which these are the songs. This is the beat. This is the rhythm.
And
so I sometimes have to record it. So I have to record the music, the tune. Like, okay, you know. But these are the things.
There must be something. Maybe just take a detour. There must be something you can share with us when a relationship is not just a mechanical relationship, but it maybe transcends into a work relationship.
Yes.
Then it transcends even further into spiritual connectivity, where now it becomes partnership at a level where you don't tolerate with each other, like many of us do in our relationship, where you have to put. I'm putting up with. You know, because what the other person is doing and what you're doing are totally in misaligned. And so maybe share with us what is the beauty of a relationship that is not only I love you, you're beautiful, you're handsome, yummy, hunk, and etc. And we are able to drive the relationship to a level where it becomes not only functional, it becomes professional, it becomes profitable.
Sure. I think the beauty about us, perhaps, is I feel it was a spiritual one from the start, because immediately when we met, we already started with the work, you know. So as much as there was the romantic side of it, but we immediately just clicked, and it was work from the word go.
On another show, I would have said the romantic side. You know, I wanted to get the juicy details. You know, but it's fine. I'll spare you.
You know, where you get away from the physical and just the putting up and whatever is you need to be aware of the purpose. I think a lot of people are not aware that there is actually a purpose in most unions. You just need to find it. You know, and we found it.
And beauty is not purpose.
Yes.
Six-pack is not a purpose.
Exactly.
It's not a purpose.
Exactly.
These are cosmetics.
You know, his vision spoke to my vision. I've always been someone that knew that she needs to work with people in the media space, and him the same thing. So these things worked together. They didn't clash. He's strong. When I'm weak, he's the strength. So I'm learning. He's learning through this union. I don't know. Love is obviously a bonus, Baba, but there's a bigger picture to this union.
It becomes the glue that allows everything else to come together. So we have IMBA, the filmmakers. We have IMBA, the TV people, in terms of consulting in that space. We have IMBA, the musicians also, and IMBA, the writers of stories and etc., which must come to publishing and books. Anything else you want to tell about IMBA? What do you...
And we will be starting a magazine. I didn't want to say this now, but we're already starting with the groundwork. We will be starting a magazine called Building Africa with Love. It takes from the show, but on a bigger scale in terms of the content, the people that will be coming there. You know, we're involving the kids, the youth. It's going to cater for everyone, from mom to dad.
Children, etc. When you come back after the break, I want to push you onto the African terrain and let's hear a vision about the greater African space. Don't go away, just after the break.
Okay.
Feel the heat.
I love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know, I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with Starsat. Feel the heat.
Chicken portions are an easy way to feed a crowd.
I've just started to incorporate all my ingredients.
We're gonna put this inside of a hot cast iron skillet.
You want to really fill up on great protein.
It's now time to sample the chef's dish. Look at this.
I know.
Like that?
Feel the excitement.
The chicken is on the spot.
Feel the heat with Starsat. Feel the heat.
Do you dream of awesome cartoons filled with funny characters who go on extraordinary adventures?
Everybody ready? Ready!
Hold on, I'm coming.
This is absolute genius.
I'm on my way.
I'm ready.
Titans, go! Feel the excitement.
Like it? I love it!
Feel the heat with Starsat. Feel the heat. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with Starsat. Feel the heat.
Just watch this. Let the pictures tell you everything.
It's all the way through!
Oh, what about that? That was really special. Those are the moments that supporters will remember.
Feel the excitement. That was delightful. Feel the...
Live with us today is Nkeke Funani, all the way from IMBA Productions, IMBA Production?
Film Records.
IMBA Film Records, and she's also doubling up with SABC and a woman of many faces. She's on the art space, she's on the TV space, she's on the radio space, and above all also she's running her own private company with her husband. And I would like to pick up your brain again, maybe just slightly further. IMBA, South Africa. Can we talk about IMBA Africa? In the space that you want to move into the African space, what sort of terrain are you looking at, and what impact do you want to cause in that space?
Well, the impact is pretty much the same because, funny enough, with the show that we're doing right now, it's already tapping into Africa.
African stories.
It's tapping into African stories because most of the people we also speak to are already in Kenya, they're in Ghana, they're in Jamaica, and those people are making waves and they're impacting where they
their
are.
Own communities,
in their own communities.
So you're looking for synergies.
So we are partnerships, synergies, So it's a matter of looking at how you are building the continent and how we can all come together and assist each other in doing that. Because the more of these stories come out, the more people get to know about them and the more they get to learn about themselves. And I think that's how the change will come about.
You don't want to miss, you don't want to miss, because this is Women's Month.
Yes.
You also want maybe to give us a small little insertion as to how in your career and professional experience and expertise you find the role of women, the challenges for the greater women out there, and how best do you think women can position themselves to harness opportunities that are out there and also make impact? Because many women, when it comes to some of these spaces, they just say, hey, you know, because there's a vicious space. Let's be truthful.
It is vicious. And the moment you put yourself out there, you need to already go armed. You know, when you get out there, be prepared for all the negative. Think of every single negative thing that you can come across. And in that way, I think when it does come to you, you know that you will just...
You're not surprised.
You know, it won't surprise you because there's nothing as painful as being unprepared for something and it just silencing you. Because when something like that comes your way, when you are critiqued or you are told you're not good enough or whatever, if you feel you're not good enough and someone else says it to you, it's a stop already. It's emphasized already. Stop sign. So you know. So you need to equip yourself. How I equip myself spiritually, I'm very big on my spirituality in terms of the strength where I draw from. Grounding. You know,
What do you do to become?
I meditate. I do yoga. I'm my own critique in that sense. Okay, I'm good enough for whatever, you know, and there's no one else that can tell me.
Gather your strength from there.
I gather my strength for myself, and once that internal battle has been won, nothing else matters outside.
Your best day in media. Take the biggest day in your entire career of media when you went home and you were running on one leg.
There's a few, but I think the best was my performance at the Orbit. When Imba performed at the Orbit in 2018, before they closed in November, there was people from America, there were people from Japan.
You were singing there?
We were singing. It was myself singing and the people that we have helped on this journey. We perform all together. Like I put them on the stage and we all do just one beautiful performance. And the responses, because even our messages, we've got strong messages. And when people receive it so well.
Do poetry also?
There's one song where I do poetry, but I wouldn't say I am one, but it's not something I will shy away from. So that was good. It's always good to see that your message is understood and that people receive it well. And just making positive change. That's what I strive for, and when I see it, it's the best thing for me.
The worst day in your media space. You went home and you wish you could run under a truck.
Wow. You see, the problem with the negative is, as much as they are there to teach you, you also forget them very quickly. You know. I don't know.
It's been average sort of thing. Let's go back. Let's go back to your greater frustration within the the legislative jurisdictions and etc. Government institutions.
Yes.
And maybe I want to pick two only: Department of Communication, because you constantly interact with those, and Department of Arts and Culture, which actually becomes a doorstep away from what you are doing. I put you a disclaimer clause. If you were supposed to be the minister in one or two of those departments, what are some of the critical issues? I don't want you just to mention where they have a problem with this, they have a problem. I want you to be in a position of power and say, if the department could end up having such a picture. What are some of the challenges you face and what are the solutions you have for those 2 or 3 departments?
Well, I think the biggest challenges that the department has is that it doesn't know the industry that well in terms of the talent that's out there. I think they lack in that department, but they they're not artists. They are not. They are bureaucrats. They're not, but they exist in order to assist the. That's why they are there. So if someone comes and there's an artist from the rural areas, and they come to, they need to make themselves accessible to people. Right now they're untouchable. They've got people that need to go.
Doorkeepers.
They are. They're really untouchable right now, and I feel they're not as impactors as they can be.
They must be transparent. They must be accessible. They must understand the industry. You're mentioning lots of things.
Yes.
What else? What one of the bigger things, or some of the issues that you are facing there that you wish they can have a revolution, a change of some sort?
A change of mindset.
A change of mindset?
A change of mindset, because we are pushing an African narrative, but they're not connecting with it. You know, their idea of the African narrative is completely different to what we as people would want it to be. I'll make an example. I should make an example. I was reading somewhere where they were endorsing Amapiano, for instance. And when you look at that genre of music, there's not much to learn from it. You know, they take things that are very frivolous. Yes, it brings the numbers, people
and for a piano, you must be paying 150,000.
You understand?
Whereas for Mbira, you can be spending 300-400 rand.
Exactly.
And where you can buy one piano, you can actually buy 30,
and
50,
not even the
60,
physical instrument, Baba, you know, it's the genre, the actual genre, the support. They tend to support things that do not feed our souls as people. They not, when you look at it, you'd actually think they're not really concerned about elevating the existence of the African child and the African people. You know, so it makes you wonder. They fall in the trap of stereotypes also. They have. Because when once you talk music, it must be dun, 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 exactly. Dun, dun, you know, and that's not what art is about. It must be all about classic, Eurocentric, you know, kind of music. And that's not what art is.
Off the record, we have a few minutes left.
Yes.
How did you survive Corona?
I locked myself away with my family in a farm. I literally went to a farm. I'm staying in a farm away from everyone, where I can walk, I can run at any given moment. I made sure visitors are not there. Okay. You know, if I need to see someone.
So you came out of the hole now this last week?
Yes, I did. I really did. Look, umhlonyane, ginger, all these natural.
Is that your secret concoction?
Yes.
Okay.
I give it to my kids. I've got 2 girls, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. They even know.
I have 4 girls.
Okay.
I have 4 girls, yeah.
Right. So when we go, it's been so bad that when we have been outside, when we come back, my husband and I, it's like steam. Yes, you don't come with anything. So we've been very vigilant in terms of making sure
safe
that
and everything else.
safe, kids, everyone.
Last question: you are the president of South Africa. 3 things that you want to change in the country.
Cabinet, I'm going to reshuffle them completely. I'll make it much smaller.
Much smaller cabinet.
It's not necessary, you know. Second thing, shacks.
Shacks.
I will do away with shacks. There's nothing that hurts me as much as going and seeing the situation that my people are in. And I will come up, the third thing I will do is actually come up with programs, farming programs for our people, for them to sustain themselves.
So it's food,
you know,
it's housing,
yes,
it's governance.
Yes, those are the things I will work
on. Wow.
Yes.
Your last words for the women out there during this Women's Month as we are concluding it. Tell us something nice. I know we've heard men are trash, men are what. Come on, tell us something nice, just for once, and tell us what we can do. What we just tell us something nice also.
I think we have either to progress or to degenerate. Our ancestors have done great things in the past, but it's up to us to even surpass what they have done. We know the examples are all there. It's up to us. We know we've had great people, but we need to go beyond that and just run with it, run with the baton. We have no excuse.
Well, celebrating Women's Month with me today is celebrating their career, power. I see lots of power and energy right there in the greater media space. Our guest tonight has been Nkeke Funani, all the way from the broadcasting space, radio. She's writing, she's doing films and many other things also. You can hear a strong powerhouse here. You're out there, you have a story to tell, you have some music of some sort, you have written some books or you want some coaching and etc. And many times in life as African children, you want things given in a plate. Sometimes I believe if you've got skill, you've got talent, you've got desire, align yourselves, not always for money. Sometimes you need to volunteer. Go there and work with the people who are in the space. In fact, you're sitting at home doing nothing. What do you lose to take your skill and your time and walk up to the people who actually have the skills? For 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you may actually find out you've actually developed your skills that are right there, lining and networks and other things that come. I cannot teach you. We're not doing entrepreneurship today, but we've been very excited, and I want to thank you very much for spending some time with us. Mwah, mwah, mwah to your children. A big hug for your husband. Say thank you to her for allowing you to come here with. And I saw him is here. That's support for me. We really appreciate it. We are very thankful.
Thank you for
and we'll call you again. And I think some of the artists that are coming onto the space, we'll link them up with you also and see how we can do some synergies. But for your show, I will do one song. I promise at least I'll do one song.
I will hold you to it.
Yeah, your host for tonight, Maponga Day, Garampoko Garamashamba, Huda Chira, Nawana Vanchibo, Huiro, Tizuana Chibuchita, Dachino Pugwana, Mangwa, Peduano Tambanachum, Tambo Ruparo, Wana Chigarama, Matanda Nora, Tizuchira, Nawana, and Jim Tambo Ruparo, Aron Pember Namachira Machina. We don't meet you so say until we see you again. Wachiriba Mangora Nama Furiwaya, don't do what I wouldn't do, but if you decide to do it better.
Hello. Being a legal practitioner in South Africa in these challenging times demands lawyers that will help clients beyond legal issues. The ever-changing demands in commerce and tourism require lawyers who have sound and clear business and commercial knowledge, and that's where MB Chabangu Incorporated comes in. Our business, mining, tourism, health, labor, and economic knowledge encapsulated with law and litigation experience gives us an advantage in the legal sphere. Our experience in assisting businesses, government, and various industries with their needs puts us amongst the many progressive and striving law firms in South Africa. Now, to contact our attorneys for assistance with any of the mentioned fields and others, please call us on 012-341-4187 or send us an email on admin@chabangu.co.za. MB Chabangu Incorporated, where problems meet solutions.
Feel the heat.
I love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know, I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations.
Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with StarSat. Feel the heat.
Chicken portions are an easy way to feed a crowd.
I've just started to incorporate all my ingredients.
We're going to put this inside of a hot cast iron skillet.
You want to really fill up on great protein.
It's now time to sample the chef's dish. Look at this.
I know.
Like that?
Feel the excitement.
The chicken is on the spot.
Feel the heat with StarSat.